What are these powers at your command?
Alchemy, sorcery, magic, or science. It's been called by many names.
I don't think I'm ready for this.
I think you are.
You're telling me you're a sorcerer.
Hello and welcome to the podcast with the hottest takes on shit no one cares about. My name is Stuart and with me as always is Joe.
Howdy.
Have you been practicing spells and incantations for tonight, Joe?
I have become a master of the arcane almost overnight.
I wouldn't expect any less. And returning champion, he survived Dog Police and Puchinsky in one episode and he's back for more. It's Jason.
Happy to be here.
Glad that you are here. Usually we record on Discord, but tonight we were recording from the astral plane.
That's right.
We've all connected psychically, and we're sharing a dream down in the harmless area at the bottom, not at the top part where it's dangerous.
And it took 2 hours to get there.
It's kind of like going between Dallas and Austin. It seems like it gets a little bit longer every single time.
It's honestly worth the wait. The sights you will see.
Tonight we're talking about the 1978 pilot Dr. Strange. And it was different than anything we've watched yet. That's about as much as I could say. It's different. What did you guys think?
I thought it was extremely boring. I fell asleep twice to it. I originally went to Cherrywood Coffee like on a Friday after work, just so I can kind of get a head start to drink some coffee and like watch it. I could not stay awake. So then I put it down, I came back, and I watched it a couple nights ago and also fell asleep in the midway point. So it was more like Dr. Boring for me.
Yes.
But there was parts that I did enjoy and we'll talk about, but for the most part, not a lot of strange things that really happened for a show called Doctor Strange.
It's really awesome at the beginning, and then for about 3/4 of it, it's a really, really mediocre medical drama.
Yeah.
And then it gets really crazy again. And
Yeah, they should have just let it be crazy all the way through, start to finish.
I agree.
I saw someone else's criticism was that it was saying elsewhere in the middle, which I completely agree with.
Yeah.
You only really see Doctor Strange like superhero form for like 10 minutes, like at the end. That's about it.
I think it's an hour and 14 minutes into the movie when you finally get to see Doctor Strange looking like Doctor Strange. I'm not a huge comic book guy. I don't know if you guys are.
Farthest from it.
Well, I'm not anymore after watching this.
What most of our listeners would know Doctor Strange from would be the 2016 film starring Bombadil Cumberbund,
Benedict Cumberbum.
Bathysphere, Kodachrome.
Benedict that guy.
Have you guys seen the 2016 one?
No.
I have seen it. It's actually written by an acquaintance, a man that I
Really?
used to
Wow.
bum cigarettes to at karaoke.
Wow.
Way back in the day. Yeah, Robert Cargill. He's
That's awesome.
friends with my old roommate. Yeah, shouts out to him. Great guy.
You should pass this podcast to him at the end of this episode and see what he thinks about the 1978 classic. Dr.
Ask him if he's
Strange.
seen it or heard of it.
I'm sure he had to have.
I liked hearing early Pink Floyd in the movie. That was like the only thing I was like, oh, that's cool.
Is that what that was? I thought it was just the score.
It's the climax from Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
Oh,
It's the first Pink Floyd album, and it's the only one that had Sid Barrett.
I've not listened to that in a long time. I always kind of liked that one.
It's completely different than any other Pink Floyd
That
album.
one and Adam Hart Mother, I think, are the two that I really liked when I was younger.
Yeah, I was a huge Pink Floyd.
It kind of got that more like psychedelic kind of thing going.
I had a lot of blacklight Pink Floyd posters in my room, a lot, and I had a lot of black lights in my room too.
Did you buy them from Spencer's?
Yes.
Spencer's?
1977, CBS had just ended Shazam, which was a live-action Saturday morning show, and premiered The Incredible Hulk, which was a huge success.
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Then The Amazing Spider-Man, which was both popular but also heavily criticized because it's nothing like the comics. There's actually quite a few of those episodes up on YouTube, and it's a really boring show.
Yeah, I kind of remember seeing it as a kid and being very bored by it.
It's not like even, doing any Spider-Man thing. I think he rides a motorcycle.
I think growing up, like, I only knew your novice, like, heroes like Superman, the Hulk, and like Spider-Man. So for the idea of Doctor Strange, I wouldn't have any clue. So like, honestly, I just heard of Doctor Strange like in 2016 when that Benedict Cumberbatch movie came out. But I wasn't familiar with it. Maybe I'm just not that into MCU. But
No, I'm with you. I had no idea who Doctor Strange was until I saw the movie. I think that's where most people are.
I mean, that logo, the light emblem, looks like for like a car that wasn't made before, like a car that's never been made. It looks like, and I've seen it before too, and I just never knew what it was.
CBS was kind of in the superhero business in the late 70s, and I think they also had Wonder Woman. That was like a Saturday morning, and that's DC.
Yeah, that was what's her name, Linda, not Blair, not Hamilton. What's her?
Linda Carter.
Linda Carter.
Did you guys watch any of the old Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno?
I did watch a little bit of Incredible Hulk, but it was one of those shows that we've talked about. It was on in the middle of the day on a Saturday, so it was just like kind of depressing to see or think about. It's just like, oh, I've got nothing going on. I guess I'll throw on some bad television.
I know the reference and I know like clips, but I've never seen a full episode, to be completely honest.
That's where I am too.
You should ignore the David Banner of the television series The Hulk and check out David Banner, the rapper.
There you go.
He's great.
Good advice. I will take that.
I've got an excerpt from Starlog magazine, number 17, from October 1978.
Well, if Starlog's writing about it, it's a big deal.
Hospital interior. Day. A pair of elevator doors opens and a young doctor steps out in a hurry. Camera moves with him down the corridor. His name is Stephen Strange, and he has dark, good looks and strong features.
Dark, good looks.
No, this is not the opening to another episode of General Hospital or Marcus Welby. In fact, that bit of opening narrative serves to introduce the strangest doctor you're ever likely to see on TV. He is Doctor Strange, master of the mystic arts, champion of the human race against the dreaded evils that exist in this and other dimensions in his mortal guise. Strange is merely a soft-spoken, unobtrusive, gifted psychologist and MD. What viewers will soon become familiar with is a struggle of cosmic proportions. The evil sorceress Morgan Le Fay and the ominous, awesome, nameless one represent the force of darkness, while Master Magician Strange and his aged mentor Lindmer are on the side of light.
Well, that sounds cooler than what actually comes out.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think Starlog might have been puffing a little bit. This is from the writer, director, producer Phil DeGuerre. We had problems with the camera, with the projectors, with the wires, with missing process plates, with missing electricity. Universal even gave us a studio which was 15 feet too short for the 70-foot projection screen, despite the fact that everything had been clearly laid out on paper! With an exclamation. Picture went 5 days over schedule and probably $50,000 to $100,000 over budget on that end of the project alone.
Wow.
So he talks a lot about in the article how he thinks that the narrative is so strong that it's okay that the special effects are really bad.
I don't think the narrative's strong enough for the special effects to be forgiving. But again, it's a different time frame, right? Like, I think there's a moment where Morgan disappears and it's just like a snapshot, and it's
Yes.
super funny. It feels like very hand-fisted in a way.
Yeah, it's like Bewitched.
Yeah, definitely does not hold up at all. Prefer living in today's time with CGI. It's so much better than living like the 1970s.
1985 interview, Stan Lee cited this movie as the Marvel television project of the 1970s that he wound up giving the most input on, and noting he became very friendly with writer, producer, and director Philip DeGuer. Lee added that next to The Incredible Hulk, this was the live-action adaptation of Marvel characters with which he was the most pleased until the next thing came out. I guess we should talk about how we watched this, because it's not up on YouTube. Every pilot we've watched so far is just freely available on YouTube. This one is actually up on Dailymotion.
An awful website.
Yeah, and it was super grainy, and I think that's also why I found it a little boring, because of the colors. It was not very good and clear.
Yeah, it was very unpleasant to look at. I'm glad I found the DVD copy.
So you found a DVD copy.
Yeah, completely legally, too, if you could believe it.
This has been released multiple times, including by Shout Factory in 2016.
Yeah, that was the first and only time that it's been released on DVD. Shout Factory does a pretty good job of releasing some forgotten shit like this.
Shout Factory's awesome.
Yeah, they've got a channel on Roku.
We are not supported by Shout Factory. We don't have
Not
we don't
yet.
get any money from them. This is not an ad for them.
Shout Factory, if you want to give us money, please email us.
If you want to send us DVDs, we would love that.
Send Stuart all your VHS so that he can become even more of a hoarder of VHS tapes.
I think it was up on YouTube up until that Shout Factory release, because I found blog articles that linked to a video on YouTube that had been taken down that had been up. 2014 was what was the upload date, and it had 41,500 views, which is insane. Assuming that it was taken down in 2016, that's 20,000 views a year.
People were probably watching it for the newer one to come out to get familiarized with it.
I think it got a lot of traffic, and then that's why it got yanked down. So, I mean, that's just an insane amount of views, though. Copyright claim was filed by NBC Universal, even though this pilot was on CBS. It was produced by Universal, and you see the Universal logo at the beginning of the movie, and NBC merged with Universal. So that's how you end up with NBC doing copyright claim on a CBS show.
The more you know.
Okay, now cue the music and that star thing.
That's what you come here for, folks. The one that's up on Dailymotion has been up for 7 years, but they don't bother with view counts or comments at Dailymotion. Dailymotion is not a social media network. It's like,
if you've ever tried to watch something on there, like the very difficult to find, even on DVD to purchase now, IFC sketch comedy show, The Birthday Boys, which is a great show, but someone had uploaded it to Dailymotion, and I used a Dailymotion app that is built into my TV for some reason to try to watch it, and it would play like 2 episodes of that, and then it would just be some random Turkish television show that is just incomprehensible to me.
So that's what I would wake up to when I fell asleep twice.
Really?
Watching Doctor Strange, I would wake up to something. I think it was Turkish, like a rom-com or something from the 70s.
thank God this finally got strange.
It was the Albanian Sopranos.
First thing that happens is we hear the most abrasive sound you could possibly imagine. It's
so eerie.
It's like if someone started beating a telephone suspension cable with an aluminum baseball bat and they just added a ton of reverb.
Like immediately. Like as soon
And
as it starts,
Like that's the first
there's
thing that
no
happens.
empty void of sound. It just goes right to that. Yeah.
It's like going to a shitty noise show.
Yeah.
No, that would be a great noise show. I would be very into that. Genius. If that didn't make you want to immediately shut this show off, and then appears a block of black on slightly black text that you have to squint to read.
There is a barrier that separates the known from the unknown. Beyond this threshold lies a battleground where forces of good and evil are in eternal conflict. The fate of mankind hangs in the balance and awaits the outcome. In every age and time, some of us are called upon to join the battle. Very 8th grade D&D.
While that's happening, there's like a sound of cicadas having sex. Like while that's going on.
Then we get the opening credit scene, which is, I think it's honestly my favorite part of the whole show. I could just like cut that out and put it on at like Halloween or whatever. It's awesome.
There's a moment where you see a masked wolf.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of
Little clay wolf mask.
Fox Monk Man.
Yeah, why wasn't there more of that in the show?
I know.
There's so much cool imagery. Great production.
There's candles, books.
There's a lot of Black Sabbath-y looking art. The font is very like 1970s acid fantasy.
Yeah.
I think if you like zoom, like, and I could not see this because this might be Daily Motion, but it looked like Morgan was like holding like a Silent Hill kind of weapon, which looked like badass. But I could not see if that's the grain on the Daily Motion or if that's just
Yeah, there's like a drawing of her.
yeah.
And she's like holding like a candle or a book or something, and she looks all magical and shit.
Gotta get a black light poster of that.
There's wizards and monks blowing horns. It looks like Magic the Gathering. There's an astrolabe, and then there's a star, and then the star turns into like a Windows screensaver, and then suddenly we're in a cave, and we are treated to a full-on cleavage shot of Lucille Booth from Arrested Development, the late, great Jessica Walters.
I don't know who that is, and I don't care to find out.
Looking very hot.
I will agree to that.
I would say she is the best actor in this entire thing.
Absolutely.
100%.
And she's the only one that has a career after this. Like, I don't know any of these folks and what they did, but at least we know with her, she had a pretty successful career.
I think we'll get to a couple of them.
We do have a couple of like character actors that had a pretty prominent career, but nothing like her.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And she's like not phoning it in.
Yeah.
Anytime she's on screen, she's captivating.
She's badass.
She's doing as much as you possibly could with this material, which is not very much. But she owns it. I wanted to mention that she voiced Fran on Dinosaurs, a show that we talked about last time we were together.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Really? I did not know.
The more you know.
So she's playing Morgan Le Fay, a legit Marvel supervillain. She's the first person to ever play a Marvel supervillain in a live-action show. That was one of the biggest complaints of The Amazing Spider-Man, was there were no supervillains. It was boring. So anyway, she is talking to this monster thing that is obscured by smoke. He looks like a Muppet dragon kind of thing. You can kind of see his mouth flap.
Yeah, it looks rotoscoped almost, his mouth. Very strange.
I wrote that he looks like a turkey leg with 4 glowing eyes. It's got like some lizard scale to it too, but it looks very weird.
He could give us a lecture about the food pyramid. He could show up with a broccoli and a cheese.
He's Pizza the Hutt's cousin.
His voice was kind of cool though. You will be punished if you do not kill.
Would it please you to be of service to me again?
It would please me.
500 years ago, you failed me, Morgan. You allowed the greatest of the sorcerers on earth to overcome you. My victory was denied to me because of you.
Long ages have I contemplated my revenge. This time I will not fail.
The monster says she needs to go kill this old wizard. And then we get to see the wizard who is drawing stars and shit. And he's like working out calculations at his desk. He's played by Sir John Mills. He has an insanely long career. He has 130 credits.
Wow.
And he was working from 1932 to 2005.
Wow.
At this time, he was still being cast in big movies and TV shows. He was getting leading roles.
Was he in Bridge Over the River Kwai?
Yes.
Of course he was. There's just that old style British actor that was just in every single one of those movies.
His agent and him kind of thought that they were going to do kind of an Alec Guinness thing with this character. That was his plan. So he was going to be kind of like an Obi-Wan.
Hello there.
And you really get that because he does a lot of little Jedi moves with his hands. Mm-hmm. So his character is Thomas Londmer, which is original character not in Doctor Strange comics. He's an old wizard.
Yeah, he gets called Old Man a lot throughout this, I believe.
By the way, every single man in this show has an amazing mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 1978. You were required to have a mustache.
The background actors even have mustaches.
There is not a single man in this entire show that does not have like a really awesome mustache.
Yeah.
Like it's styled and looks really good.
Yeah,
There's no sloppy mustaches.
Well groomed and trimmed. Yeah.
They look amazing.
I agree to that.
It's a great movie for mustaches.
Brown mustaches.
Yeah.
The wizard, he's really tired from drawing stars. His stars with the magnifying glass.
It's a fucking exhausting job doodling.
He collapses in his chair.
Doodling in the fucking margins of his books on the arcane. Drawing hyper-realistic penises and titties.
Yeah, in his cave-like apartment.
And we're just watching this, I guess, through the monster vision, and the monster's like explaining,
The time now comes when he must pass on the powers entrusted to him. He grows old and weary of the burdens of his life on Earth.
So she needs to kill him while she can, and it seems like it's really important and we should do this really quickly. But everybody takes their time with everything they do. There is no urgency.
Yeah, they pretty clearly took something that was like maybe a 40-minute long script and decided to stretch it out to an hour and a half. Just like plug in all the fucking outtakes to get this thing on a Sunday night.
It's really an efficient script. There's no like hanging chads, so to speak. Like nothing happens that they don't come back to. And that was one of the most annoying things because normally I can kind of skip through these, but my notes are very long because there's so many things. If you don't talk about it, then the thing happens later that doesn't make sense,
If you cannot defeat the old man, then strike against the successor. The one who wears the ring is the one who is chosen.
You'll know him because he's fucking smoking hot.
You have 3 days. Don't fuck this up or I will punish you and it will be really bad.
Yeah, the monster's kind of a dick.
He is. Yeah, he's a fucking prick.
He's an asshole.
I think he might be evil incarnate.
He might be Satan.
So then all of a sudden we're on the street and we get treated to some insane wailing guitar psych.
Yeah. It felt like you were going to get introduced to like a cop drama with all the jazz and like the guitar solos. And then like you also see the steam coming out of the sewers in that like New York City shot.
Would you say this is really New York?
No, it's not in New York. They filmed it on a soundstage at Universal in LA.
But it's set in New York.
Yeah, because there's the Twin Towers.
Oh,
they show that twice.
I didn't notice the Twin Towers.
And he says that Cleach is a student at NYU.
I remember as a kid New York looking like that. Not as like crazy. There's a part where we see a bus that has graffiti on the windshield.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The bus driver's like leaning out the window to drive.
But yeah, I remember as a kid, it kind of resembles that a little bit. Kept seeing the same food cart called Rolls, and like that was something reoccurring. I'm not sure if anyone caught that. Like at one point you see them at the Flatiron building. There's always this cart that just says Rolls. Growing up, I remember like hot peanuts and hot dogs, not rolls. Like I don't know what a roll is. It's like a hamburger roll or a hot dog bun?
It's a tortilla with a little bit of cheese sprinkled on top, and then you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds until about a third of the cheese is melted, and then you just sort of cram the whole thing into your mouth at once. And that's a roll.
I think we should talk about the music and the sound effects because it is in itself a character. It's incredibly abrasive and aggressive, but it's also a psychedelic score.
Well, here's the thing, is that the score, just like the show itself, oscillates between like being pretty interesting and being just fucking garbage. these parts of the score, that very 70s orchestral kind of sound, and it just doesn't fit with the rest of the score, which is like psychedelic fucking, some guy with a fucking Moog going ham.
The music is by Paul Chiari, who is a friend of writer, director, producer Daguerre. This was very early in his career, and he's credited as a composer on IMDb. I think he has like 30 projects. He's still working today, and he has a project in post-production called USA, Land of the Mustaches.
Oh, fuck.
It all comes full circle. His first composer credit, the original Death Race 2000.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
The year 2000. America is a vast speedway. People line the streets to witness the greatest drivers on Earth in a race from sea to shining sea.
This is a death race.
Great film.
We watched it the other day because Brienne had never seen it.
Oh, I hated it. I hated it.
And it's a very good score.
Is that the first film appearance of Sly Stallone?
Yes. It's Sylvester Stallone's very first movie. David Carradine as Frankenstein. It's an incredible fucking movie. So this was his third or fourth composing gig. So anyway, Pink Floyd is playing, and we see a taxi cab pull up under the symbol of light, which is the hashtag symbol that we keep seeing.
The pound sign?
Tic-tac-toe.
Hashtag.
The pound. And it's up on a building, so the guy gets out of the taxi, knocks on the door, no one answers, so he just goes in, and then he's crying out,
Master?
and the credits just start up again. It's like, oh no, the credits aren't over. This guy he's just walking around in absolute darkness, and wild psych music is playing. We can't even see who he is. It's like complete darkness. And finally we see it's Clyde Kusatsu, a man that should definitely look familiar to anyone who has ever watched TV, because he has over 300 credits to his name, and he is still working today.
He is all over the place.
He did a TNG episode.
He's in a couple, I guess. He's a recurring character. He plays an admiral. He's also the vice president of SAG-AFTRA for the Los Angeles chapter.
So he's like a Ronald Reagan.
He is exactly like Ronald Reagan. There is not a single difference between the two.
Ronald Reagan, the actor?
So this is Wong. He's one of 4 established Marvel characters that show up in this after Morgan Le Fay, Stephen Strange, and Clee Lake, who we meet later. Huge excitement for the Wong fans out there. He's also sporting a really sweet mustache.
He looks so good. He looks so good.
It's like a pencil-thin mustache.
He kind of plays like a servant to a master, which was, I think, kind of a little problematic, right? In this,
he says at some point, because he like cooks the master, whatever the fuck his name is. He cooks him food, and he's like, "You are a pupil and a friend, not a servant."
The famous breakfast scene, which we'll get to later. One of the very action-packed scenes in this show.
Fucking, I would love if they had stretched that scene out to pad this movie out, and it's just like 8 minutes of him like slowly eating scrambled eggs and then getting up to find the ketchup.
This is long as shit. I don't think we've said that yet. This is 90 minutes long.
And it feels every second of 90 minutes.
Master?
So Wong is looking around the house, and the house is awesome. It's an awesome set. Anytime they're in the house, I'm into it.
It's sick as hell.
Yeah, it's like a cave.
It's like stucco cave/castle.
Yeah.
So finally he finds the old wizard in a room, and he shows him a picture of her in the book, the one that we saw from the beginning, and it looks really great.
Her name is Morgan Le Fay, the Enchantress, Queen of the Sorcerers, the Dark Queen. You've never shown me this book before. You never noticed it.
Dude, why did you never show me this book? Like, why are we just now talking about this?
Damn, I've been dating this lady.
Yeah. This book is like 5 million years old, and I never told you about it.
He's just now sharing this with Wong, who is like so devoted to him. And it seems really important, you know? The wizard tells Wong,
The barriers are crumbling. Morgan is to be the first of the Dark Ones to cross the threshold. Her purpose is to destroy me.
But he needs to go find Stephen Strange. He doesn't know where he is, but he knows he's safe. And at dawn, Morgan is coming over, and they are going to fight, and Wong can't help. He says, you're going to face her alone? And the wizard says,
None of this is ever alone.
Whatever the hell that means.
I think what he was trying to tell him is that he's been watching him go bathroom.
Right before that, I think Wong says,
And she hasn't aged. Working evil has a few advantages.
kind of a weird line. Because I guess age does play a kind of a factor in this movie.
Yeah. Beauty is like a huge theme in this. Like, beauty is very important to Morgan.
Yeah, it was the shallow 70s, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we fade out on the symbol of the light. It like zooms in on the symbol and then zooms out on his ring. And we get to meet our hero, Dr. Stephen Strange.
How are you, Stephen?
Good.
Played by Peter Hooton. And this is pretty much the only thing that he's known for is this role.
Oh, he's known for something else.
Really?
Yes, the movie Orca.
Oh.
The ancient Romans called him Orca or Canis, Latin for bringer of death. He is without challenge the most powerful animal on the globe, the killer whale. Orca has 48 teeth, set in 2 impressive rows. In some respects, the orca's intelligence may be even superior to man's. They remain loyal to one mate for life. As parents, they are exemplary, better than many human beings. And like human beings, they have a profound instinct for vengeance.
Which was kind of like a Jaws knockoff, if I remember correctly. Also, Peter Hooton had me hollering.
He's an extremely sporadic actor. He has about 30 roles between 1969 and 2017. And the only thing of note that I saw in his acting career was he was in the original 1978 Inglourious Basterds.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Which has absolutely nothing to do with the Tarantino movie other than the name. And it's otherwise unnoteworthy, according to like everything I read. So here's our hero. He brings nothing to the role. He is incredibly boring.
But he's so hot, Stuart.
He's a playboy.
Look at that little cleft chin.
I made a list of the things that we know about Doctor Strange. He has an amazing mustache and an incredible perm.
And I think he sleeps with all the nurses, too.
Yeah, he sleeps with all the nurses and all of his patients.
There are 4 main female characters, and they all either have or want to fuck him. He's a resident psychologist in a hospital where he also seems to live because he never goes home.
The only other places that we see him other than the hospital are at the master's house and at that girl's house who he's treating and just decides, yeah, I should probably date this girl, huh? She's probably got her own place I could sleep.
He works at the hospital and sleeps there because he goes on duty for like 28 hours at a time. And then when he's not at the hospital, he just sleeps at some woman's house. He's chronically late, which maybe because he's fucking. They never say why.
Too busy busting to be anywhere on time.
And he succeeds at anything he tries with little or no effort. Like he might fail a little bit and then he just works. Like he's good at everything.
He's basically my high school bully.
Wait, I just realized that maybe the writers misunderstood what the name was supposed to mean, and they thought he was called Doctor Strange because he got so much strange.
I think a huge problem with the show is that it's an origin story before anyone really knew how to do an origin story properly. And also origin stories are boring.
Every single reboot of Batman or Spider-Man or any of those, they always do the fucking origin story, and it is boring to watch.
Everybody knows that he's going to be the superhero. We don't need to find out how. Just start your story with him already being a superhero, and then if you need to fill us in, just do flashbacks. Don't commit a whole fucking movie to an origin story. It's so boring.
Your take on origin stories is the proper way to do an improv scene, too.
Just start in the middle?
Start in the middle, yep.
Okay.
So he comes off the elevator into the hospital, and a nurse starts deriding him about being late.
Head nurse reported you. That's 3 times this month.
4 times.
Who was it? Anyone I know? Lipstick on your cheek.
And she's actually like wiping it off of him. This is Sarah, and she says,
And I can smell her perfume. It's not very expensive perfume.
That's because I gave it to her.
What a cheap bastard.
Now, Sarah, if I'd been out with you, I wouldn't have been late.
maybe I wouldn't have been late if you let me fuck you last night instead. And she's like,
We made a deal.
I never agreed to it. I think it's fine for doctors and nurses to fall in love.
Falling in love wasn't the question. It was making love.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's like sleeping with her just, sometimes. It seems like they got a deal.
Yeah, Steven and this nurse are talking about the differences between lovemaking and being in love, while there's 3 outpatients that are just like waiting there like robots. And I don't know why, It is like the funniest thing to me because they're just like waiting for him to be done talking about this bullshit.
His dick game's so strong, nobody cares. They're willing to put up with him.
Yeah, we'll wait for Dr. Stephen Strange.
We'll wait for Dr. Stephen Gooddick.
You would never notice unless you watched it like 3 times like I have. So when they're having this conversation, they're walking down the hall, and if you look over to the left, there's a woman putting a diaper on a baby doll, just like it's a real like it's a real baby.
Real insane, like really insanely. It's very weird to see. At first, I was like, were they like trying to imply that it was a real baby, or they tried to imply that she's like
insane,
completely mentally unstable?
It could be either.
I guess she could be being treated for postpartum depression or something. I'm not a fucking doctor, but
Wong is there. Wong has been following him since they got on the elevator, so Wong just knows where he is. Because they said at the beginning, we don't know where he is. He's at the hospital. So no tension there. Ruin that. And she also establishes he has a terrible working relationship with the head nurse because he's late all the time.
They don't get along because she's just the head nurse, not the give head nurse.
So the hospital scenes are basically 3/4 of this show. And they're so goddamn boring.
They suck.
It's like an episode of the blandest 70s medical drama ever. Hospital dramas have always been one of those mainstays of TV. Maybe they thought it's a superhero show, but he's a doctor. They're in a hospital, and that's something recognizable to the executives or whatever. I don't know. It didn't work.
Are there any hospital dramas that either of you have ever like actually watched and enjoyed?
I can't say that I have seen any that I've enjoyed, or any at all.
I think Scrubs maybe comes the closest.
Oh, Scrubs, yeah.
Yeah, Scrubs is okay. I've watched some House, but it also gets really boring really quick because you know exactly what's going to happen in every fucking episode.
I guess I dated a girl that made me watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy, and that was bad.
But they go on forever. Like
they do.
Grey's Anatomy's in like its 18th season.
At least, yeah. Because it's somehow still on, and this was 2 decades ago almost.
It's all about police, lawyers, and doctors.
Or if you're Warren Zevon, it's all about
lawyers, guns, and money. The shit has hit the fan.
Sorry, I'm extra retarded today, boys.
I'm happy that we managed to fit 2 Warren Zevon references in the last 3 podcasts. That's pretty good averages.
Oh, it's because I'm entering middle age, so of course I have to get into Warren Zevon.
So we go into the scene where an alcoholic woman with ulcers is begging him for drugs. He has this ridiculous conversation.
Your ulcers will go away if you lay off the juice.
She's like, I know, but I want to get drunk.
Yeah, I've got something to say to him about that. You ready?
Yeah.
Is that a lighter?
What was that?
It was a beer opening.
Oh, okay.
I got the ulcers again. And I've been drinking milk like they told me to.
I got the ulcers, and I'm drinking the milk like you told me to. It's like, I'm not sure if milk, like, helps ulcers out. If anything, it's like, would make it kind of worse.
I thought milk was bad for your stomach.
It like produces acid and like digestive juices, so like I would imagine that makes ulcers like way fucking worse.
It's not in the 70s though. They just prescribed cigarettes and hard liquor.
You mean doctors aren't supposed to still be prescribing cigarettes, Stuart?
More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
This poor woman leaves, and this man walks in.
Come on in, Mr. Washington.
Mr. Washington.
Mr. Washington.
He's got bandages on the back of his wrist like he attempted suicide backwards. And he just walks in and sits down and doesn't say anything, and then the scene ends. Cash my check.
They cut it back to the Twin Towers or whatever New York landscape. He was a mechanic or something. And he just got off of work.
Somebody hit me on the back of the wrist with a fucking monkey wrench.
That's New York City, baby.
That's New York for you.
Hit on the wrist.
You're gonna get randomly attacked with a monkey wrench.
Not far from the truth either.
So from there, we go into one of only like 2 action scenes in this whole action-adventure superhero show. We're across town. Morgan Le Fay is riding around in a taxi, and a bunch of kids start jumping up and down on the taxi and demanding that she give them money.
Give me a dog. Yeah, me too.
and she's completely unfazed by them, and one kid makes a face at her through the window, and she just glares at him and he runs away. Then we cut to a college girl carrying a bunch of books down a flight of stairs, and the music changes to what I can only describe as a boss level from a SNES game.
Yeah.
Like Mega Man.
Yeah.
So she's walking along, and then we see that Morgan Le Fay is following her for some reason. She stops to look at some used books, and then realizes she's being followed and starts walking faster. And then we see Morgan on a bridge, and she's leaning there, just hanging out on a bridge. And then we see the old wizard, and he is staring at Morgan, and Morgan sees him. And then they start talking psychically.
I thought that was pretty cool. It was like Scanners, kind of.
That telepathic scene was kind of cool. Yeah, I did like that a little bit.
Yeah, anytime there's the like implication of doing psychic battle, I'm kind of in.
Your barriers have fallen. You cannot stop me now.
I have cast you out before. You shall not pass by me, Morgan.
You forced the choice, old man. Now it begins.
And then Morgan disappears. And then we see the girl coming up over the crest of the bridge, which was really kind of a cool shot. She appears walking over the horizon of the bridge. And she walks up to the wizard and says,
Miscalculated this time, old man.
And she's using Morgan's voice. And then she drops her books and she throws the old man over the bridge.
There's a really bad stuntman cut in there too.
I watched that a couple times. Did they really throw a man off a bridge?
Yeah, it's a real guy, but he's clearly about 30 years old and blonde.
The way that it's shot, you think it's a bridge, but there's no way of telling like how far he actually falls. They could be like a foot off the ground.
And they made use of this shot because you see it a few times throughout.
Oh my god. Yeah, we go over and over and over this. We cut to a shot of his crumpled body on the pavement, and people are gathering around him, and the girl that we saw before gasps, and she turns around, and there's Morgan, and she's just standing there, and she says,
Is he dead?
Is he dead?
And the girl takes off running. And we cut back to the pavement, and the old wizard just gets up and says,
What happened to the girl?
And then he just limps away, and all the people are completely confused about like this ancient man they saw fall from 60 feet in the air.
He walks a while too, and he's just holding his hip. Like it was only
just holding his hip lightly, yeah. Like it wasn't shit.
His hand glows. Mm-hmm. This is something he does a lot, and he touches his hip, and it like fixes it, and he's not limping anymore. He's like walking normally. We cut to a screeching teapot, and the girl we've been following is sitting in a chair in like a studio apartment, and I like this studio apartment set. I thought this was a cool set. This is Anne-Marie Martin, and she's credited as Eddie Benton. And she was actually married to Michael Crichton from 1987 to 2003.
Whoa, wait, hold on. Who was married to Michael Crichton?
The girl, the college girl.
Oh shit, really?
Clea Lake.
Fun Michael Crichton fact. Did you know he was like 6'8"?
No, I did not.
It's fucking wild. Look up a picture of him. He was gigantic.
He didn't do a lot of like interviews and stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I would just sit back and enjoy the money from writing pretty mediocre books.
I read Jurassic Park. I thought it was awesome.
Did you really?
I wanted to read some more Michael Crichton books. I thought it was silly and also just dated because they're like, this computer has 50 gigabytes. There's nothing they would need that much storage for. They must be doing DNA resequencing.
I tried to read it when I was young. The like little graphs threw me off for some reason.
So anyway, Anne-Marie Martin, she also co-starred with friend of the show, Fred McCarran, from Heartbeats, the TV show.
Oh, fuck.
Stick around. She co-starred with him in The Boogans.
The Bogans or the Boogans?
It looks like Boogans to me.
Is it with 2 O's?
How would you say Boogans?
The Boogans.
The Boogans.
You know what a bogan is, right?
Well, in the movie, the Boogans are scaly turtle-like monsters that are released from an abandoned, boarded-up silver mine and wreak havoc on the town.
There is no escape.
Oh, shit. That's very different from bogans in real life, which are just...
like a hat?
They're like Australian rednecks.
Oh.
They're like guys with like mullet like to...
It's not that much of a difference.
I guess so. They do all live in abandoned silver mines.
Fuck you.
Anne-Marie Martin, she's playing Clea Lake, who may or may not be her comic counterpart. It's like they used a name, but it doesn't seem like it's the same character described in the comics. And I got bored reading comic book wikis, so
They're very dense.
listeners can decide if they want. I don't care.
Who cares?
I don't give a shit. I really don't care.
If you care, fuck you.
Fuck me? Fuck you!
No, I'm...
If you care, send us an email because we need a comic book person. We've got a ton of these comic book pilots that I want to do.
If you care, send us $50.
Send us a letter written on a $50 bill.
That'll make me care. You can just pop that letter into literally any Porsche, deliver it to my house, drop the car off at the house with the keys and the title. I'll read your letter and it might make me care.
And also, welcome to next week's show.
It's called Two Really Rich Guys Who Totally Care Now.
This abrasive teapot is going off, and she is really dazed and barely seems to notice. And finally, she gets up, pours some tea, and sits back down. This is riveting television, folks. So Wong is back at the wizard house. Wong tells the wizard he found Dr. Strange, and the wizard tells Wong,
I confronted Morgan and provoked her into attacking me. She used a girl as an instrument, an innocent soul.
He's the good guy, and he wants to use her as a pawn to defeat the evil person.
Yeah, it's a shitty thing to do.
What can we do for her? In the moment, nothing. But she has become a part of things, and even a pawn can be used to capture a queen.
Sometimes things aren't quite black and white, Stuart.
We all wear masks.
That's right.
That's correct, Wendy. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking.
We all exist within shades of gray.
So we go back to the hospital, and it's really late, and Dr. Strange is walking around, turning off the lights in the ward where all the patients are sleeping, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is on TV for some reason.
I was curious about that.
They make a huge point of showing it a bunch of times. I don't know what it has to do with any.
Yeah, it cuts to it like 6 or 7 times. And also Doctor Strange watching it and Cleelake watching it at the same time in like separate locations.
Kind of serves to communicate that this is happening at the same time, because they start having like psychic connections, and it's like, okay, well, this is happening at the same moment because we know they're both watching this show.
I kind of felt like they were trying to, like in a werewolf movie where, you know, it's set in modern times and a werewolf movie is on the TV or whatever.
Yeah.
Like some kind of foreshadowing, but it like doesn't make any sense if it is.
They're trying to create a mood, but it's not the right mood. Like, it doesn't make any sense for what they're doing.
That Abbott and Costello mood.
Well, maybe it's a strange mood, maybe. Because it's very strange that it's playing.
There you go. You only get away with that excuse so many times.
Yeah.
Isn't this weird?
Like, why did you do that? Because it's strange.
Because it's weird.
Weird. The soundtrack at this moment is like exciting, creepy, spooky, like sneak around music like you'd hear in like a fucking Disney cartoon or something. There's nothing happening. We're watching people literally just fall asleep. They start having like a dream where she's seeing the whole bridge incident in slow motion. And Doctor Strange is also experiencing this dream. And it startles him, and he wakes up, and we're treated to more Abbott and Costello. And then we're in another dream, I guess, and she's walking through the darkness, and then she's running from Morgan Le Fay, and there's a bunch of wind that's blowing her, and this just goes on and on and on till she finally, like, wakes up.
No.
And this funky music starts playing. And she runs out of her apartment and gets on the elevator, and she's like going down the elevator, and it opens on a floor, and Morgan is just standing there, and she winks at her.
I'm David Pumpkins!
So the door closes, and she's running down the street, and everywhere she turns, like, Morgan is just standing. She does a great job of just standing there. And then a taxi almost hit Clee. She's running through the streets like an insane person.
Hey, you trying to get yourself killed?
That classic New York moment when you almost get hit by a taxi.
You all right, lady? What are you doing out here all alone?
I don't know.
Come on, I better take you in a cab.
That's the most unrealistic part of this entire fucking show.
Yeah.
He wouldn't care. He would just keep driving. Out of your fucking mind.
Yeah, the cab driver puts her in the car, and he's like, "I better take you to the hospital."
That would have not happened in the 70s.
Not on this
He would have
fucking
moved her
life.
body out of the way and kept going.
He would have screamed at her dead body.
Fuck you!
Conveniently, she just gets taken to the place where our protagonist is.
At the horny hospital. The best little hospital in New York.
So she's talking to a doctor, and he is asking her what happened to her.
Did something happen to you?
She says,
Don't make me go to sleep. I'll die if I go to sleep again.
so this becomes like it's like a Freddy Krueger situation. This doctor, also sporting a huge, amazing mustache.
The black doctor with the fucking just massive mustache. Very good.
My notes say exactly right now, all the doctors have mustaches and they look great.
I mean, I'll tell you, that's the majority of my critique on anything that we watch. It's just, yeah, everybody looks pretty good.
So the doctor calls Dr. Strange, who is sleeping in his office for some reason. I guess it's the middle of the night, so he sleeps in his office.
He also sleeps in dress pants and a dress shirt.
He never goes home. He just stays in his office.
Well, there's too much pussy at the hospital.
He finds a woman, and then he goes and stays with her.
Mm-hmm. He's homeless.
Then he goes back to the hospital and finds another.
They could have called this show The Horny Homeless Doctor.
There it is.
Dr. Horny Homeless Mustache.
The horny hobo with a
mustache of gold. So the doctor that's checking out Klee, he calls Dr. Strange.
Yeah, I think you better get down to ER. I've got a Jane Doe for you. All right.
He's like, you better get down here. There's a college girl.
We got the Doctor Strange special down here at the ER. A co-ed that doesn't know where she is.
Well, Dr. Strange, he comes down and he sees her and recognizes her from the dream he was having. But he just kind of he brushes it off. So they are examining her. She starts telling Dr. Strange she was in an accident and there was an old man that was pushed over a railing. And then, Dr. Strange remembers the dream he had. And she's like, I can't go to sleep or I'll die. And Dr. Strange is like,
that won't happen. Lie down, please. I want a complete workup. Medical EEG, skull films, and that drug screening. Mm-hmm.
And then he leaves. He's walking down the hallway, and he passes by Morgan Le Fay. He feels her looking, but he turns around, and she's gone. Meanwhile, at the wizard house, the famous wizard breakfast scene. Wong is fixing breakfast for the wizard.
What's this? Breakfast? Wong, you're a pupil and a friend, not a servant. Oh, sit down and eat.
You should eat breakfast because it's so good for you.
First, attend to the body. Isn't that what you always taught me?
It's tradition when one wizard does for another wizard what you did to me last night.
Wong tells him,
Girl was admitted to Eastside Hospital last night. Which department? Psychiatric. Was Stephen Strange still on duty? I must go to the hospital immediately. He was on duty all night. You can go there after you've eaten.
And the wizard is like, okay, fine, I'll eat the breakfast. Just another action-packed scene about breakfast. And now, we're apparently watching One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Where's McMurphy?
Klee is in line to get her pills from Nurse Ratched. The only woman in this entire show that does not want to fuck Dr. Strange.
What is it? Your medication.
Will it make me go to sleep?
Yes, dear.
I don't want it.
Oh, everything's all right, Doctor.
You can't make me take
And
it.
she just starts screaming. And then Dr. Strange comes out and he's like,
What's the matter?
She won't take her medication.
You promised me don't make me go to sleep.
It's all right. You don't have to go to sleep. Nurse, I didn't prescribe any medication.
It's standard procedure, Doctor. I'd assumed you'd signed for
Well,
it.
you assumed wrong.
it's great medical drama. We go back to the wizard's house and the wizard is leaving. He locks the house with his magic hand.
He's got the powers to lock his front door with. Why is he taking a cab?
There's a lot of wizards riding cabs in there.
It would be too obvious if I just disapparated and reapparated somewhere in the city, even though nobody gives a shit about anything happening here. Everyone's so disaffected and high on drugs.
So public transit it is. Good old fancy taxi cab.
Look, I'm a senior. This bus pass is supposed to be good for 2 transfers a day.
No, I'm not a wizard, and why do you ask?
Some call it science, some call it magic.
Sir, I only asked if you were an AARP member.
They walk over to the waiting taxi and we get another riveting scene.
Shall I come with you to the hospital? That won't be necessary. Well, I have some personal matters to attend to. I can return this evening.
Set your affairs in order, Wong. In 2 days' time, we shall both know which path fate has chosen for us.
And then he gets in the taxi, and Wong goes and does his private shit that we never find out about. Well, I got shit to do anyway. It's no big deal. I don't even want to go to the hospital anyway.
He had nothing to do.
So Wong is like walking away and he passes Morgan on the street. That's her go-to move, is just standing there while people walk past her. The SNES boss music starts playing again. And so Wong walks away and she's looking at the wizard house and she sees a cat. And she like makes the cat go into the wizard house, like go up to it. And the cat gets shocked because of the magic.
Yeah, I thought that was weird and random, but it ties back to the end. But at the time of watching, I'm like, why is the cat getting shocked randomly?
It was in Peter Hooton's contract. They had to torture and kill at least one cat during the filming of this.
Yeah.
Everything is explained like so many times, over and over and over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's locked. I locked it. Why can't she come in? It's because I locked it. There's nothing that's just like left unexplained.
Or even like the part where the old wizard falls from the bridge. He tells Wong about it right after. So we see it and then we hear about it like right away.
And then we see it over and over, and the girl tells us about it again. It's a lot of tell don't show going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut to a staff meeting at the hospital. The show needs more medical drama, am I right? So the head doctor is like, why are you letting drunks sleep here and admitting weird Jane Does that don't take their medicine? And Nurse Ratched is just eating it up. She loves watching the head doctor berate Dr. Strange. The head doctor's like,
She's a county problem. Send her to Bellevue for observation.
I don't think that's necessary.
and Dr. Strange is not having it. So they all go to look at Clea, who's asleep, who at this moment doesn't remember who she is. And the head guy is like, I'm going in alone. So Dr. Strange and the head nurse are just standing in the hallway and they just awkwardly look at each other for a few seconds. I wish they had stayed. That must have been a really great conversation. It's like, well, yeah, what have you been up to?
Has diabetes. I'm late on rent.
Oh, one constant thing that's going on the whole time in the show, whenever they're in the hospital, is there's a woman's voice calling over the intercom. At this point, it says,
Dr. Ferrari to ER immediately. Dr. Larry Ferrari.
Dr. Larry Ferrari?
That's a porn name. Larry Ferrari.
That's a fucking Fletch name.
Oh, it's me, Dr. Rosenpenis. I'm just here to check out Stanwick's file. Dr. Rosen, and I'm here to get to the records room. It's Dr. Rosen. I want to check the records room.
All right, so now we see the wizard, who is wearing a three-piece suit and carrying a cane, dressed in the nines. He comes off the elevator at the hospital and asks about the girl to the nurse that's sitting there on duty.
May I help you, sir?
There's a young girl in the psychiatric ward. She was transferred from the emergency room last night.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Visiting hours are from 3 to 6 in the afternoon.
And he literally does like a Jedi mind trick to the nurse.
This is an unusual situation. I have pertinent information about the girl.
He waves his hand. She takes him to the head nurse.
This is an unusual situation. He has pertinent information about the girl.
He's standing there in front of Nurse Ratched, and he shows her a drawing he made of the girl, and he's like, I need to see this girl.
We've all done that, right?
The nurse is like, no. He does the hand Jedi trick.
May I come in?
Come in.
Thank you.
Why did he just do the hand trick the whole time?
Yeah.
She takes the wizard to see Doctor Strange, and it's so funny, but it's like not played funny. This was a missed opportunity because she walks up to him and she goes,
He should see the doctor in charge.
I am the doctor in charge.
and then she just walks away like a zombie. This is a very important moment. The two wizards are finally meeting, and there's no urgency. It's so sedate.
Have we met before?
We may have.
This meeting is very long, and it
Oh my
doesn't
God.
get to the point until the very end.
It's tedious.
Yeah, it's very painful to watch.
So we see that the wizard has given Doctor Strange a piece of paper with her girl's name, her address, her phone number, and he's looking at the drawing. Doctor Strange is looking at the address, and he's like,
This address is near NYU. Is she a student?
he's been over to NYU's student housing quite a few times. He knows right where that is.
What can you tell me about her?
What can you tell me about her?
That's very, very human trafficking.
She's given very little agency in this show.
Yeah.
She's confused, disoriented, essentially psychotic, out of touch with reality.
I don't feel like this is okay. Some random stranger can just go into a doctor's office and then the doctor just start telling them about a patient. And then he's like,
Last night, I had an odd sort of dream. This young woman was in it. So were you. And someone else was there, another woman.
And you, and you, and you, and you were there.
Oh.
And the wizard is like,
The events you just described actually took place yesterday afternoon. I wasn't hurt in the accident, but Clea didn't know that.
So the wizard is telling him that they were sharing a dream, and Doctor Strange is like, I know you from somewhere. Who are you? And the wizard tells him they have magic to do, but Doctor Strange has to want it.
I can't force you to do this, but if you choose it of your own free will, then come to my house.
And he gives him his card,
which also has that girl's name, phone number, address, hours that she'll be home.
His card has the circle, the hashtag # circle. That's the meaning of life or whatever.
Yeah, the symbol that they used instead of a pentagram, which they had originally used a pentagram in the comics and then sort of dialed that back because of parents groups, I believe.
Doctor Strange has been at the hospital now for at least 3 days.
He's been there months.
The workaholic.
Something-aholic.
He goes down to visit Clea, and she's in the ward, and she's really sleepy, even though she's been just chugging coffee. Doctor Strange goes to the head doctor, and he's like, what the fuck? You lied to her about the medicine you were giving her. And the head doctor is like, she was a pain in the ass, and she needed to go the fuck to sleep. And then the head doctor leaves, and another guy that was just standing there is like, Steven, dude's in charge. Sorry, man. The head nurse comes out of the ward to get Doctor Strange. Of course, Clea is now in a coma. The head doctor comes back, and Steven gives him a really angry look and just stomps out. I told you so, you old fuck. So Stephen Strange goes into his office. He like determinately takes off his doctor's coat and grabs the wizard's card and puts on his blazer. And he's like looking at the symbol on the card and look at the symbol on his ring. It's like, yeah, I'm leaving the hospital.
I'm a big boy and I'm going to leave the hospital on my own terms.
Stoop kid's afraid to leave and stoop.
So Doctor Strange, he's walking down the street, and we see Morgan watching him from across the street, and there is a boy on a bike. And I guess Morgan tries to make the boy push Doctor Strange in front of the bus, like psychically.
The boy is so far away from the bus. It doesn't look like there was going to be any type of accident.
I was thinking the boy was going to go in front of the bus and Doctor Strange was going to like push him out of the way or something. Whatever it is, it doesn't work. And somehow we see Doctor Strange walking away, and there's just like this funky psych music. He like mugs right at the camera like he's Shaft. We're back at the wizard's house. Doctor Strange, he rings the doorbell, and Wong answers.
Oh, come in, Dr. Strange.
And he goes in, and the wizard comes downstairs, and he's like,
come into the study.
And then they go into the study, and
My father gave me this ring. The design on it's the same as your attic window. I also saw it on your calling card. Well, what's going on here?
More than meets the eye.
And the wizard's like, yeah, I knew your father. And his death was untimely. And Doctor Strange is like,
I know about his death.
Only that he and your mother were killed in an automobile accident, and that you weren't with them.
I was supposed to be. I changed my mind at the last minute.
So the wizard takes Doctor Strange's ring, and they make a point of showing that he's like putting it in his pocket secretly. And then he tells Doctor Strange that he's really special, he has a clear mind, and he loves people, and that's why he's a doctor.
You're my special little guy. I love you. You're very special to me. You're precious. I can't believe you're here with me. And you have your father's ring, and we love it. We love that your father's ring, that you're here. Our special little guy.
Also, some latent talents, which even you are not aware of yet.
It's just like exhausting. Like, this should be exciting news. This is like groundbreaking. He's telling him that like magic exists and all this shit, and it's so boring.
There's some magic I'd like to show you. If you'll just now close your eyes, get on your knees, and open your mouth.
I mean your mind.
And I will put the magic inside of you.
That's a rabbit's foot.
This is a sacred hot dog.
Doctor Strange is then like, wait, what are my powers? And the wizard says,
The Hermetic Arts. The ability to take the fundamental forces of the universe and direct them control them with the will.
Any of the arts that were pioneered by hermits.
So then Doctor Strange says, was my dad a wizard? The wizard's like, no. But he knew that you would be a wizard. That's why he left you that ring. Then the wizard tells him,
I believe the accident was intended for you. Your parents died to protect you.
A lot of weight to have.
so, okay, sure. After a little more back and forth, I mean, it's just back and forth about dribble. Doctor Strange, I guess, decides he's going to do the magic thing, and he calls the hospital, and the nurse says,
Where are you?
At a friend's house.
You know, like an adult would say to another adult coworker.
I'm hanging out with my friends. Jeez, God, can't I just have a life?
And then he's like, what are Clea's vitals? And then she asks for the number where he is.
I'm on the run. I'll call you. Goodbye.
We're now 51 minutes into this action-adventure superhero show about wizards.
Christ.
And we are finally going to get a scene with some trippy magic. This is the best stuff in the whole show. I would just fast forward to this part. This is also a lot like a scene that happens in the Badminton Krispy Kreme movie from 2016.
God damn it. Spoiler.
This happens like within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think I might rewatch that after we're done recording. It's been a bit.
I want to compare them, actually. So I've never seen the 2016 one, so I think I will too.
Well, if you got a little Disney Plus, this podcast is sponsored by Disney Plus. They pay our bills $500 million a month for us to do this podcast.
So we cut to the wizard in his study. And he's actually doing some glowy magic over a drawing of a star that Doctor Strange's ring is sitting on. And then he comes downstairs where Doctor Strange is sitting by the fire, and he's like, here, I fixed your ring. Put it on now.
It's not covered in poison.
Doctor Strange says, okay, now what? And the wizard says,
I'm going to send you on a journey into the astral planes, which are other dimensions of manifestation existing within and beyond the material plane. Dreaming is a form of astral travel on the lower planes, where it's harmless. Unfortunately, Clea's consciousness has gone on to the higher planes as a result of the shock she experienced when evil took possession of her. She literally can't find her way back. The psychic link between you will lead your astral body to hers and keep you with her for the journey back. The ring will serve to protect you. On the higher planes, certain beings exist which are not always friendly. The ring should persuade them to keep their distance. If anything should approach you, I want you to say exactly these words. In the name of Rael, scourge of demons, I command you, begone.
You got all that?
Now get on your knees and close your eyes and open your mouth.
I mean mine.
So he describes the astro traveling, and then obviously you see it, and it's even longer to like visually.
I don't mind. That part can go on for as long as it wants.
It's pretty cool looking, really.
This is the room that they needed 50 more feet to throw him around from the ceiling in front of a blue screen. Doctor Strange says,
when does it begin?
Now.
And everything goes bananas, and it's like zooming back, and the wizard is like zooming out into a void, like disappearing, and there are colors everywhere. It looks like that scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey, except 100 times cheaper.
With disco-less music.
Doctor Strange is like suspended by a rope. He's just flipping. They're like slinging him around. It's absolutely bananas. And Morgan is there somewhere watching all this somehow. She's back in her magic red cleavage dress.
Yes, sir.
And there's like a big moon behind her. So I guess she's like also in the astral plane somewhere, like in her area. And she's like,
bells are off.
A guy in like a knight outfit riding a horse just shows up.
Go to the girl and wait. A man will come to free her. You must prevent this. You may have the girl, but bring the man to me.
And he's like, okay, sure, sounds great.
God, they're just passing her around like a fucking joint in Obama's dorm room.
The knight has like a weird sound effect too. It sounds cool when he talks, but it almost sounds like a voice box.
I love the knight. He should have been in more of this.
You only see him briefly, but he brought some, I don't know, some excitement finally. Like a black knight.
Every single little weird thing like this should have been in this 4 times as much as it is.
We need more Bel-Sarath, less Saint Elsewhere.
Yes.
So we go back to Doctor Strange. He's still floating in the kaleidoscope, and he's yelling out Clea. And right at this moment, it becomes like the tornado scene from The Wizard of Oz. The music and everything kind of reminded me of it. I don't know. Maybe it's just 'cause I've seen that movie too many times.
Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, I've seen it 1,000 times.
Really? Never would have expected that.
Oh, I'm a huge Oz head.
I wouldn't have pegged you for a friend of Dorothy.
I've read all of the original L. Frank Baum books. Not in a long time, though. Not since I was in like 6th grade.
They're like your Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's the only book that you have read and know how to reference.
Dude, the Wizard of Oz books are fucked up.
They're fucking scary.
Spoiler alert, I guess I'll put the time code here.
Skip to 70 minutes, 30 seconds.
But I'm going to spoil the ending of the second book, which is The Land of Oz. The main character is this little boy named Tip, and at the end of the book, he discovers that he's actually a girl.
What?
Who's been transformed into a boy, and he gets transformed into Ozma, who is the Queen of Oz, and she shows up in all the books from then on.
What the fuck? Really?
And this book was written in like 1902.
Yeah, I mean,
so
transgender identity has existed for thousands of years.
Sure, but I don't think it was like showing up in children's literature.
Yeah, it is very weird that it would have come out of. I assume that L. Frank Baum was British.
No,
he's American?
no. L. Frank Baum was American. Yeah, he spent most of his time in like San Diego. L. Frank Baum had a very bizarre career.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of bizarre career choices. Fascinating character.
Yeah, we should talk about that sometime on a different program.
At a different podcast.
At a different venture on a different podcast.
There's actually a Wizard of Oz pilot that we'll eventually do.
Oh, holy shit.
It's like a sci-fi channel. Really bad. Really, really bad.
Oh, fuck. I remember that. I totally remember possibly watching that because I thought for years that I had watched Return to Oz, but I think that's actually what I watched.
Oh.
Is this a newer?
Yeah.
Newer?
Yeah, it's called Lost in Oz, and it's from 2002.
Yep.
Basically, Oz as a dystopia.
I've totally seen that.
Return to Oz is great. Like, Return to Oz is the closest I've ever seen in any media of capturing the feeling of the books, like the creepy yet whimsical nature of. Have you seen Return to Oz?
I have not.
I'll tell you what I have seen: The Wiz.
Yeah, The Wiz is good too. What a ridiculous movie.
Is that Fred Savage or Ben Savage or neither of them?
The Wiz was done by Motown. So it's Diana Ross as Dorothy, Nipsey Russell as Tin Man, and I can't remember who played the lion, but Michael Jackson is the Scarecrow.
Oh, I'm thinking of something completely different.
And Richard Pryor is the Wiz.
Dead hunky.
Oh, wait, I know what I was thinking of. I was thinking of The Wizard with Fred Savage.
Oh, yeah!
That's what I was thinking of.
Man, that is a movie that is very hard to track down to watch. And I don't know why that is.
Wasn't it just a promotion for Super Mario Brothers 3?
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah, and Jason, you have to say Super Mario again just so I can hear it.
Do the Mario
Super Mario Brothers 3.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers 3.
It's got Mario.
They're good boys. They come in and they fix the plumbing and then they leave. They do a very nice job. Couple of good paisanos.
You know, they fix the plumbing just like Doctor Strange.
I'd love a hot bath.
Complete turnaround.
Doctor Strange transition.
Yeah, because I would much rather talk about the Wizard.
Doctor Strange is like floating around in the kaleidoscope world, the astral plane, and he finds Clea, and she's like in there with like a flowy white dress. They grab hands, and there's just like, you know, the psychedelic music and the psychedelic lights. Really dark. I don't know if we've talked about this. This whole thing is so dark. Whenever anything important is happening, I had to pause just because I couldn't make out the bodies. It might have just been the Daily Motion version.
It's the same on the DVD version. It's still pretty dark, but at least it's not like.
Okay.
At least it doesn't have like 1,000 artifacts per fucking square inch.
The knight, Belzeroth.
You have lost her, mortal. Come with me and save yourself.
Shows up wherever they are. Like, it's really hard to get an idea of where they are, like what the space is. There's a brief moment of tension, and then Doctor Strange just yells the magic phrase.
In the name of Ryle, scourge of demons, I command you be gone.
And Belzeroth screams and disappears, and that's all it takes. Doctor Strange finds Clea. They grab hands, and they keep flying through the kaleidoscope for a while, and it just goes on and on. And then we cut to Morgan. They're in the place with the moon, and she's yelling at Belzeroth.
You lost him.
He yelled the thing at me. What was I supposed to do?
I can't just do my job if he's yelling that thing at me.
All it takes is that thing.
He said the magic.
Look at the ancient scrolls with the rules written on them. If he yells the thing,
I have to go.
The Knight's fault.
So then we see Clee's sparkly soul flying through the air, and it goes back to the hospital and goes into her body, and Doctor Strange is like, for some reason, he's there. He's like creepily standing over her. And then he's back at the wizard's house, and he's sitting in front of the fire, and the wizard's like sitting in front of him like he was before, smoking his pipe, and he's like, hey, you're back. Doctor Strange collapses, and he's like, you need to go to bed. So I guess he sleeps at the wizard house sometimes.
he's a random 4 a.m. Facebook Messenger guy. Go to bed. Go to bed. Why are you awake? Go to bed.
You up?
You up? Go to bed.
You up?
So we go back to the astral plane, I guess, and the monster thing from the beginning is talking to Morgan.
Thrice you had the opportunity to slay him, and thrice you stayed your hand. Why, Morgan?
And she's like, no, I tried. I was trying to kill him. And he's like, no. Tell the truth. I know you were not trying your hardest. You got to tell me why. Why didn't you kill Doctor
It was
Strange?
the Knight's fault, I think she says.
I commanded Belzeroth to bring him to me. It was he who failed.
Do not lie to me, woman. Why have you spared him?
Yeah. She's like, the Knight tried. And he's like, no.
One more thing. Why didn't you kill Doctor Strange?
And then she's like, all right, you got me.
I am still a woman, and the man attracted me.
I want to fuck Doctor Strange.
I'm still a woman, you know.
Just like in every fucking show that we've done for this podcast, someone is destroyed or ruined by horny.
The warmth of a mortal man.
It might be the horniest pilot we've ever done.
It's pretty horny. It does, like, a lot of the scenes, a lot of the cutaways seem like they could have like shot a porno.
Well, Doctor Strange looks like a porno star.
He does,
Like,
yeah.
It feels more like a love story than it does an actual like mystical wizard. I don't know. Whatever they're trying to do.
A love drama in a hospital.
If you desire the mortal, then you may have him, but only once my lust is satisfied.
I also want to fuck.
I'm also going to fuck him.
I'm going to fuck
Actually, I fucked him first.
So the monster is like, you belong to me. Stop thinking about fucking anyone because I lust for souls of men, and that's all that matters. Also, no man would want you.
I am the one who fucks.
He does the most horrible thing you could do to her. He makes her look old.
Would any mortal man desire you if he saw you thus?
Yeah, she looks like a
She
weird
just-
albino gorilla with a big fucking triangle head of hair.
Yeah. The monster says, if you don't either bring me the wizard or kill Doctor Strange or kill them both, I will take away everything you care about.
And leave you old and barren till the end of time.
She's 500 years old. You're telling me that shit's still working down there?
She's like, I need my youth.
My youth.
My youth.
Oh, you echoed a little bit.
We cut to Clea, and she's playing pool.
Yeah, and right before that, you see the Twin Towers again. Just like yeah.
So we have a shot of the Twin Towers, and then we see Clea playing pool, and we know that we're in a hospital because we can hear the intercom calling doctor. This isn't just like, a set that they had already set up that they could just use. So Doctor Strange is standing there. He's wearing a turtleneck, like a black turtleneck, and he's smiling.
In a very creepy way.
From this moment on, she wants to fuck Doctor Strange. Like, she's
Mhm.
all about fucking Doctor Strange. For no reason, just out of nowhere.
He's just eye fucking her from playing pool, too, this whole time.
He's trying to look down her shirt.
You don't bring a psychiatric patient into a hospital who doesn't know who she is and then just start trying to date her. That's really not professional.
Unless your name is Doctor Strange.
She's like, I'm fine, but I had this weird dream last night where you saved my life. And Doctor Strange is like, sounds weird. I mean, I'm a doctor. That's what I do. I fix people. And then she tells him,
I've been waiting
For what?
to see if you'd come.
the music here is like really sexy for some reason.
Oh, God bless.
So he walks her home, and they have this whole conversation where he's like, I could help you study. And she's like, what's your major? Oh, my major's psychology.
If you wanted to, you could help me with my homework sometime.
Well, doctors aren't supposed to get involved with their patient.
But I'm not your patient anymore.
Helping you with your homework might be considered a professional interest.
Well, does that mean I have to pay for it?
They're laughing about it's so stupid.
They laugh at the same exact time, too, which is kind of odd.
Yeah, sitcom-y. And she's like trying really hard to get him to come in. He's like, how about I come back for dinner at 7?
Be ready at 7.
Then it's like night, and Doctor Strange goes to see the wizard.
We're off to see the wizard.
He goes to see the wizard. And he's like, I don't know what we did last night, but I don't want to do it anymore. Even though it worked perfectly and everyone is fine.
We've all had that morning of regret after getting pegged for the first time.
There's no reason for him to like not be into this all of a sudden. But the wizard's like, okay. And he goes on this bizarre diatribe.
Evil isn't a real thing. It's a condition of the mind, dysfunctional, destructive, and incurable. You call me a rational man, I am. I want to stay that way.
And the wizard's like, okay, that's cool. Doctor Strange is like walking out the door, and he realizes that he can't get his ring off.
We've all had too much sodium in a day, not been able to get a ring off.
He opens the door, and it's pouring down rain now. There's like a black cat standing on the doorstep right before the threshold.
Hello, kitty. Do you live here?
And he picks up the cat, and he carries it inside. What are you doing outside?
Come into this cave.
Yeah, come into the magic cave.
These homeowners don't care.
Do you live here, kitty? You live here now. Cat like hisses at him and he drops it and he's just like, okay, whatever. I mean, that's a cool thing to do. Just let cats into people's house as you're on your way out. Of course, the cat turns out to be really Morgan, obviously, and Doctor Strange just let her into the wizard's house. Good job, Doctor Strange. And she walks through the house for like 10 minutes looking around, and it just goes on and on and on until she finally finds the wizard and they have their wizard duel. He's shooting her with bolts and she's laughing and like redirecting them. He collapses and his body is like glowing, and she holds her glow hand and shoots him again. She says a spell and a demon appears, but we only see the shadow.
Kind of a cool effect.
So this hell demon takes the old man or the old sorcerer to, I guess, that dimension.
Astral plane.
The astral plane dimension. Because I was lost there for a second and I wasn't sure what happened.
You were on the astral plane.
Yeah. Watching this, I felt like I was on the astral plane for sure.
All right. So we cut Clea's studio apartment and she's getting ready. And Doctor Strange shows up and they're flirting in her little apartment. She says, I'm not ready yet. Do you want me to get you something? And he says,
I'd love a hot bath.
That's how all humans enter a room. I would just love a hot bath.
Don't you remember when you were first learning about dating and picking up people and you're like, oh, well, yeah, now that I'm here, I could use a hot bath.
And then she kind of like laughs and she's like,
how about settling for a cold beer?
Opposite of a hot bath.
They start kissing and it's so weird and awkward. It's like, what? Where did this come from?
There's like a dream catcher there, and he just puts his hand through it or something.
So Doctor Strange, he's getting a beer out of her like really ancient refrigerator. Clea is brushing her hair, and Morgan Le Fay appears in her mirror, and she starts freaking out.
It's happening again. It's coming back.
And she passes out on the bed, and Morgan appears and tells Doctor Strange that he has to go with her. Clea won't be harmed, she'll be fine, but you have to come with me. So he takes her hand, and
I have things to show you. Powers beyond your comprehension. Come.
she's going to show him her powers.
I could show you my powers.
She disappears and reappears in the dark void astral plane with the moon, her area. She's now wearing like a red evening gown.
Yes, sir.
Stephen, look at me. Am I pleasing to you?
Don't I look good? And he's like, yeah, you look great.
Holy fuck, you look so fucking awesome and hot. Shit.
And I'm horny again. Perfect timing.
I was just with that girl, and then now I'm with you. This is awesome.
It's so cool to be out here in the middle of fucking another dimension. And just to be like totally horny with each other alone.
She touches his shoulder, and he's finally wearing the Doctor Strange outfit.
That's right. And it's fucking dope.
We are 1 hour and 14 minutes into this 90-minute television movie.
It's so cool. He's got like the fucking chunkiest fucking doo-doo roll necklaces.
He was already wearing the turtleneck and slacks outfit. That's what he's been sporting for a while.
Which is also a great look.
Yeah, sure. It's the look well. He has a huge necklace and a gold cummerbund and a black robe and red trim, and he looks awesome.
He looks like a fucking sultan.
So she tells him to lift his hands and call lightning, and he does. And then she tells him, you can have anything you want.
Beauty, art, music, what?
Head, anal.
The secrets of the universe.
Who's gonna pick the arts?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably would because I'm a fucking idiot.
I want to see art.
I just want to put my fingers all over a Da Vinci painting.
Then they start kissing, and he turns away, and he's like, oh, your lips are cold. Who are you? And she says, I'm Morgan. Kiss me some more. He doesn't really have any like compulsion. Like he's just like going along with this.
We've all kissed a girl named Morgan whose lips were cold.
So she fixed them.
She kisses him again, and she's like,
are my lips still cold?
No. I warmed them up on this magical pipe. I'm so high. Now you do some.
Then they're in like one of those 70s beds that's like round.
It's like a water bed, almost like
porno bed.
They're like getting cozy, and she's like,
take off the ring.
The ring?
I don't want that dirty, nasty old ring inside of me.
So they start walking across the room, and she shows him that the wizard is in a spider web, and she's like,
take off the ring and reign with me, Stephen, on all the thrones of men forever.
And Doctor Strange doesn't know if he wants to fuck this girl or like hang out with the old wizard.
We've all been there.
And the old wizard has like this like white makeup that looks like he's in the Misfits or something. He looks
like he's in a Norwegian black metal band. Death Pain or whatever they call it.
Mayhem.
Finally, Doctor Strange is like,
no.
Then she says, you better take off that ring or you can climb up there with him. And he's like,
no!
Then she says,
don't defy me, Stephen, or I'll take my pleasure from you in another way.
Oh, God.
Then these vines from like the wall or the floor come out and like pull him down. And he just yells that magic phrase that he yelled earlier.
In the name of Royal, scourge of demons, I command you, release me!
What a novice you are at this, Stephen. So much to learn in so little time.
And then Doctor Strange's hands start glowing, and he's got the powers, and we get the triumphant music with like the church bells playing, and he's like finally Doctor Strange.
I got the power.
He like burns the vines; they like catch on fire, and then he starts shooting with his like glowing hands at Morgan, and she disappears like she does, and then him and the wizard are suddenly back in the wizard house, and like the wizard has his arms out like he's still in the spiderweb, and he collapses into Doctor Strange. That exciting scene is over. We're back at the area of the astral plane where the monster is, and Morgan, Jessica Walters, is acting her fucking ass off.
Yeah.
She is waving her arms in the air and yelling at the top of her lungs.
Queen of demons, end of the flesh, and I am Ishtar, bloody Ishtar, and I am Morgan!
It's a hell of a monologue, like, for sure.
But it comes off as Rita Repulsa.
Oh my god. Yeah, you are very correct.
Can't believe it! We were this close to meeting the Power Geek, and if it wasn't for your monster, we'd have done it!
The monster, the monologue he gives is just fucking intense. It could be like death metal lyrics.
Yeah.
Pray to me for death, you shall not have it. I will punish you until you scream to me for mercy.
And on and on and on, and then he makes her ugly, and he just disappears, and he leaves her screaming at the top of her lungs in the dark void. Back at the wizard's house, Doctor Strange is saying,
"These robes, Morgan gave them to me."
And the wizard is like, robes are robes, whatever, they work.
They're not cool or anything. I think that they're like not quite as cool as my robes, actually. Actually, I think my robes are quite a bit cooler looking.
But when I become the head wizard, I get to wear your robe, right?
No, of course not. I'll be buried in these. These are mine. I'll die in them, and I'll be buried in them.
You'll get your own.
You'll get your own cool robes. They won't be quite as cool.
You keep the robes that the old hag gave you, and I'll these that are better.
These were $3,500 at Neiman Marcus. Gucci. My Gucci robes.
So then he tells Doctor Strange that the whole thing was a ruse.
I tricked you, Stephen Strange. I allowed Morgan to believe she had defeated me. I knew her desire for you would be her undoing.
But that's just so I could get you, Doctor Strange, to come and save me, so you choose to be a wizard.
I let her kill my Chinese friend just for pretend.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She did shoot Wong. I forgot about that.
It was pretensies.
And I don't think we see Wong either after
No,
this.
we do.
Yeah, he wakes up. Yeah, he wakes up.
Oh, that's right.
He wakes up.
If you want to become a wizard, you have to give up earthly pleasures.
The pleasure of ignorance, or offspring, or an easy death.
Will I be asked to give up even love?
Yeah, but I can still fuck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's so concerned about fucking or like having love.
Those are the only pleasures I have to give up, right, wizard?
But the wizard says,
The universe is love. That you shall have.
now you can fuck the universe.
My God, you almost fuck as good as me. The master. They used to call me the master fucker.
We could both fuck the universe.
We could both fuck.
We'll double team the universe.
I mean, I fucked it first, but you could also fuck it.
Let's find that Black Knight from earlier.
I wonder what he's doing. Should I reach out via text or email?
Fuck the Black Knight.
He seemed pretty chill, honestly.
So Doctor Strange goes, I don't understand, but okay, sure. So then the sun appears through the hashtag window and asks,
Stephen Strange, do you accept the guardianship of the light?
and a white box appears in front of him and floats up, and we see that he's wearing a completely different outfit for some reason.
So stupid.
It looks so fucking stupid. Really baggy light blue pants and a really baggy purple shirt with gold cuffs and a gold cape. And he has a star on his chest. He looks like a character from Bible Man universe. Star of Bethlehem Man.
Fuck! Holy shit! That is exactly what I was going to say he looks like. He looks like something from fucking Bible Man. Bizarre. Yeah.
Bible Man's coming, so you better stick around. A brand new episode is coming to your town. A whole lot of fun with the greatest book of all. Yeah, the Bible Man's coming, and it's gonna be a ball.
It's so bad. it's such a stupid looking outfit.
You can't see his muscles in that costume.
No one's gonna fuck him in that.
His fucking days are over.
That's actually what Peter Hooton said in an interview I read. Once I was in the superhero costume, I was relieved because I didn't have to hit the gym as much. It was just kind of loose.
For that 2-minute scene.
Yeah. Well, it took 6 years to shoot.
On the IMDb, there's a trivia section, which is dubious. This little tidbit is on there about this costume. The starburst on Doctor Strange's costume is not on his comic book outfit. While it is similar to one that ordains the costume of another Marvel comic hero, Captain Marvel, this particular television movie costume starburst design is a telltale quote-unquote signature of costume design consultant and former Doctor Strange comic book artist Frank Brunner. Brunner uses that starburst on many different design projects and incorporated it as a more television-friendly replacement to the demon symbol usually worn by the comic book Doctor Strange. Although not named, the creature that Morgan Le Fay serves was visually inspired by Doctor Strange's comic book arch-nemesis Dormammu, while Morgan could be seen as inspired by Dormammu's sister, Umamu. That extra part, not relevant. But anyway, it's what you were saying earlier, that they couldn't have him in the outfit with the
pentagram and everything.
Pentagram. I mean, they could for a little bit because they needed people to recognize him, but they needed to get him out of that and into something different. Seems to be like they wanted to find a friendlier costume, so he's like, yeah, I've got this Bible man outfit I've been thinking about. We could stick him in that.
I've been planning this for years, and once the show Charles in Charge airs, I'll have my perfect Bible man, and this is what he shall wear.
Everybody get ready for the Bible Man Show.
He and the wizard start glowing. Lightning shoots between them and they both collapse. And Doctor Strange gets up, but the wizard stays down. And Wong says, "You have the powers now, but you don't know how to use them."
You're like a child with a loaded gun. Unless you're careful, you can harm yourself or others.
You idiot.
That's actually my slogan.
Yeah.
And then he says, "I'm sure we will have hundreds of fun adventures where you can learn all the things that need to learn to be a good wizard, and I will accompany you.
All of the various learning things to learn and
on our many, 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 many adventures."
Let's say about 8 seasons worth.
And you thought we were done with the boring fucking hospital scene. Oh no!
Oh no!
No! We get a hospital epilogue scene.
We just gotta know what's going on with the fucking hospital.
We gotta close the head nurse's story arc. We're in the meeting room and they're talking about how they don't have any patients anymore, and everybody's great, and everybody's, getting healed really fast.
No one's coming to the hospital anymore. It's a miracle.
All the ulcers are gone.
That old lady with the ulcers died.
She was our main source of income.
Mr. Washington committed suicide on the right part of his arm.
So the horny hospital needs to close today and indefinitely.
We're all closing and going out for ice cream and then an orgy.
We're having horny ice cream.
Yeah, they're having a meeting, and Doctor Strange walks in late.
Got swagger, though.
Strange, do you happen to own a watch?
Yes.
Does it work? Or sometimes? I suggest that you look at it sometimes. Sorry.
Heroes can still be late. It doesn't matter how super you are, you will find a way to be late.
It actually doesn't matter what time you show up for work at the horny hospital. The pussy isn't going anywhere because it's all bedridden.
It shows a chalkboard. Dr. Strange, he's racing on duty. So he's finally off duty. He gets to finally leave the hospital. Clea is there waiting for him. And she's like,
"Do we go into your office?"
Do you want to do it in your office or your car?
No, I've got a better idea. Let's take a walk.
She's forgotten everything again.
Can't remember anything.
We cut to a newscast where a woman is interviewing Morgan Le Fay.
We're here interviewing the founder of the Le Fay method, a woman who in the last few days seems to have taken at least a part of New York City by storm, so to speak. Here to tell us more about it is the force behind the Le Fay method, Morgan Le Fay. Miss Le Fay, can you tell us just what it is exactly that the method does?
Quite simply, it unlocks the hidden potential within you. It's a way of realizing your own powers and using them to get what you really want out of life.
This was the most interesting thing that happened in this whole show.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of like gurus and stuff in the late 70s, like selling like crystals and
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, for sure.
There was like a thirst from the average American to just be sort of part of something and to prove themselves. Like the late 70s is like the beginning of the self-help movement.
Super fascinating. I would have loved to have seen where that went.
Yeah, that would have been a cool thing to see.
That is a kind of a trope in late 80s, early 90s Vertigo comics, especially like, I feel like it pops up in Hellblazer, which is what the movie Constantine was based on.
Oh, okay.
A character who's from another world, and then they become famous on Earth for something of that nature. Like
a guru or like a psychic or something?
Yes, yeah.
We see this, the broadcast in a TVs in a storefront. And then we cut over to Doctor Strange and Clea who are walking down the sidewalk. They're having the exact same conversation that they had earlier when he walked her to her house, and it's really creepy.
Yeah, it's very strange.
What are you studying?
Would you believe psychology?
He knows what her major is. He's basically taking advantage of her. She's forgotten all this, and he already knows all this stuff about her. It's like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, where he like knows everybody. He's like using all that knowledge to take advantage of this young woman. And again, he's supposed to be the good guy.
He's a classic male manipulator.
That wears a mask.
We all wear
masks. We all wear masks.
That's correct, Wendy. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking.
Is Ben Stein dead?
I'm gonna say yeah.
I don't think he's dead.
I don't know.
Do you know that he is like a like fervent? Well, I mean, for one, he was Nixon's speechwriter for a couple of years, but he was a fervent evolution denier.
Oh yeah,
because he said that evolution is what the Nazis used as justification for the Holocaust.
He had a movie called Expelled.
Oh, I never saw that. I should, though.
It came out about 12, 13 years ago.
I should see that because I agree with him.
Oh, yeah? Agree, intelligent design?
Yeah. Moving through history in an unguided and undesigned way, the theory of evolution.
Excuse me?
Yes, Ben.
How did life begin in the first place?
It develops, you know, we've been through this so many times. You have
Could
me
there
so...
have been an intelligent designer?
Everything that he says, I agree with, because he was on TV and he gave away his money.
He's also Dr. Arthur Newman in The Mask and The Son of the Mask.
Whoa, he's in Son of the Mask?
Yeah, he's the only returning character.
Oh my god. Jamie Kennedy, right? As Stanley Ipkiss.
Alan Cumming, yeah.
Alan Cumming's in it?
It's not Stanley Ipkiss, it's a different person that gets the mask. Unwatchable.
Do you guys know that Alan Cumming has his own cologne called Cumming by Cumming?
Coming soon.
He fucking rocks. I gotta stand with all of my Scottish brothers.
Sorry, we're almost there.
Oh, God.
God, this is the longest show.
Doctor Strange and Clea, they're walking around the corner, you know, and they're having this same fucking conversation, and they see the TVs that are playing the interview, and Clea just goes, "That's dumb," and they walk on. And he walks her to the doorstep and says the same thing he said to her earlier.
I'll come for you at 7.
Really, at 7?
Like, literally the same thing that happened earlier.
I want a hot bath.
I want a hot bath and a dinner of some hot.
That's a nice wind catcher.
That's a nice wind catcher you've got there.
Yeah, a wind catcher.
This is the last scene.
Yeah, and it's the funniest also, I think.
There's a street magician. He's like juggling and he's doing tricks, and there's a crowd and they're loving it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you magic.
Doctor Strange walks by and laughs.
What an idiot. A noob.
He rubs the back of his head as he's walking by.
Watch closely, as from this handkerchief I will produce a beautiful bouquet of flowers.
And instead of a bouquet of flowers, it's a beautiful white dove.
These powers are super serious, and we need to take care of them and protect the universe, but also have a little fun when you can.
I could destroy or save the universe, but frankly, I'd rather turn flowers into a bird.
And prolong the theory of magic.
He's dangerous.
Yeah, he's like a kid with a gun.
He hasn't learned his power.
And the safety is off.
Fully loaded, ready to go. Pointed at your dad. Pointed at your mom. Pointed at your siblings.
So I just want to point out that the magician is actually a magician. Like he's
Excuse
does
me?
magic. He's still working. His name is Larry Anderson.
Not Harry Anderson from Night Court.
Yeah, not Harry Anderson. Larry Anderson.
Not Larry Ferrari.
Not Larry Ferrari.
Dr. Ferrari to ER immediately. Dr. Larry Ferrari.
He did do episodes of Night Court.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He shows up in 2 pilots that we may do. One I know we're going to do. One was She's the Sheriff. It's just about,
It's about a woman that looks exactly like Robert Goulet, who's a famous actress, and she becomes sheriff.
You nailed it. And the other is in Cosmic Slop.
Oh, fuck. Well, we're definitely going to do that.
He looks like a really young guy, and he's like a struggling magician, like playing out this like story in my head. So he gets a job, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to be on a pilot. And like his friends, they have to watch the whole thing because he's in the very last fucking scene.
Yeah, his friends are having this exact conversation until they get to that magician scene.
When do you show up? Were you in the background? Have you already? Did I miss it?
This guy with the white guy afro and the mustache really loves getting pussy.
And where do you show up again? Why aren't you getting pussy? Oh, because you were a real magician.
Because you just wanted to do magic. So this guy doesn't want to become a magician because he loves getting pussy, but you don't want to get pussy because you only want to do magic. Wow, the 70s were fucking weird.
Doctor Strange just is above it all and sees the folly. He throws his hands up in the air and laughs, and then like it freeze frames on his intense look.
His wry grin.
I thought that was like an error on Daily Motion, but I think that's true. I think it just freezes.
It does freeze frame, and then it's a drawing on the version I watched.
Yeah, there's a drawing, and we get a better version of the theme song at the end. The theme song at the beginning is basically just like someone beating pots and pans together with a lot of reverb.
Mike Patton?
Is that the Locust?
Not that I'm complaining. I actually think the music in this is amazing. I would love to get the soundtrack for this on like vinyl.
I think, yeah, when it's really good, it's really good.
Yeah, but even when it's really abrasive, it's really good at being abrasive.
Yeah.
All right, well, that is Doctor Strange. I mean, obviously it got really low ratings.
So the night that they aired Doctor Strange, it aired on a Sunday night from 8 to 10 p.m. on CBS, and it was up against Roots.
A rerun of Roots.
Which, fuck, man, y'all couldn't have planned ahead a little bit?
With these pilots, we always hear stories like that, and then you go and you look.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, like you understand it. It's just like something that, like an anecdote,
Yeah.
That you go check out.
It's like, at the time, it probably would have had like 10 times the viewers on that one night at that specific time that anything that is currently on Netflix has ever had. Emily in Paris has not had as many people watch it as watched this the night it fucking aired.
They never make a pilot, air it, and then they're like, oh, the ratings were bad, I guess we won't make the series. That never happens. They've already decided if they're going to pass on it. They've got a dead spot where they know they're going to get shit ratings anyway. They've already paid for this pilot, so they just throw it on.
Yeah. They just throw it on a Saturday afternoon as a movie.
Sunday 8 to 10 when people are sleeping.
You hear these stories of, the ratings were terrible, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it didn't fucking matter. They're going to be bad anyway.
Yeah.
That was the whole point.
Yeah, just recycle.
The production value at the beginning and pretty close to the end, anything in the astral plane is so cool. It's very cool looking.
Yeah.
For that time, too.
Yeah, the fact that like the artistic merit of a lot of these shows is tied to whether or not they can sell advertising during the show is not a very good system. It sucks shit.
Well, it's not. It doesn't exist anymore. Hardly.
It still does. I mean, Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory's over.
Yeah, Young Sheldon.
Yeah, Young Sheldon.
But anyway, whatever is on a platform with advertising, which there are still streaming platforms with that.
Yeah, I have Hulu with ads on.
Yeah.
It sucks.
You're sitting there watching Black Dog, Kurt Russell classic film.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, an advertisement will come on based off of the cookies from the browsing you've done on your phone, where you just randomly were like, how much do adult diapers cost? And then there'll be an ad for adult diapers on your Hulu while you're just trying to watch Kurt Russell go insane because some truckers took his wife.
What can we say about Doctor Strange? Like,
Dr. Boring.
It's terrible.
Dr. Boring.
Don't watch it.
I wish the directors had more fun with it and maybe took more chances on the strange things, but they did not.
They should have spent more time in the astral plane.
Yes, absolutely. When Cheryl and I put it on the other night for the first time, and it starts out with that incredible intro, and on the astral plane, I was like, Stewart's out of his mind. This movie's not boring at all. This is so cool. And then immediately we're just both looking at our phones, not paying attention to it at all. It's just like, fuck, man.
I could not help myself, and I kept looking at my phone. I was like, all right, I gotta fucking stop and just watch this fucking film. And it took, it was hard. Yeah, it was definitely a challenge.
The mark of a good film. They canceled all of the superhero shows all at the same time.
Really?
And this kind of got swept up in that too. CBS was afraid that people were going to think of them more as the superhero network.
That's fucking wild, because what do we think of CBS now as? It's the channel for old people. It's
Right.
JAG, it's NCIS, it's Big Bang Theory or Young Sheldon or whatever the fuck.
60 Minutes and CBS Sunday Morning.
Woof.
I love CBS Sunday Morning.
Oh, jeez.
I watch CBS Sunday Morning every single week.
I can't stand it.
It's the best.
As a man that loves boring shit, I can't stand it.
In the early 70s, they had a bunch of rural-based shows. They had Mayberry RFD, the Beverly Hillbillies, and Green Acres, and I think they were also showing Hee Haw. And they canceled them all at the same time. It was called the Rural Purge.
That was when?
In the early 70s.
Okay.
Those were all top-rated shows. Mayberry RFD was coming off of the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah.
And I think it was only a season or two in, but it had a high lead in. Beverly Hillbillies were huge. Green Acres was huge. And people were calling CBS the country broadcasting network.
Wow.
They just all of a sudden canceled anything that had a tree in it.
Have either of you ever watched Green Acres?
I love Green Acres.
Green Acres is one of the weirdest network shows of that era. It's kind of insane, really.
It's the Beverly Hillbillies in reverse. So you have the Beverly Hillbillies are the hillbillies that move into high society. Green Acres is the high society people that move into the country. And it starts with that basic premise, but then it just like goes into like Dada.
Yeah.
Like surreal. Nothing makes sense. It's self-aware that it's a TV show sometimes.
It breaks the fourth wall.
The animals talk. It is absolutely apeshit. Bizarre.
It's very good. It's right up there with Mary Hartman.
Which we one of our listeners wrote in and let us know is up on Daily Motion. So our fans can watch all the Mary Hartman.
Yeah.
All right. So final thoughts.
Yeah, definitely put me to sleep twice, and I will not be watching again.
Nobody watch this show.
I will watch the 2016 film just to see what maybe a good movie is like.
It's also pretty boring, but it's better.
Yeah, but I imagine the scenes that we see in the astral plane probably look a million times better.
The film has at least one thing, if not quite a few things, but at least one thing up on this version, which is Mads Mikkelsen, who makes Peter Hooten look like fucking hot garbage.
Doesn't take much.
He's pretty hot.
He's fucking
that wry smile, that little butt chin. Come on. Those dark features.
has been a Filmways presentation, darling.